Hey guys, today's question is find the length of the longest common prefix. In this question, we are given with two arrays, ARR1 and ARR2, that contains positive integers only. And a prefix is the starting of some digit can be considered as a prefix, and we have to result the longest common prefix in both array by any elements. Okay, so like in this example, if you look, there are three elements in array 1 and only one element in array 2, and if you look closely you will find that the longest common prefix is this one. The three letters 100 here and 100 here are the longest common prefix in this array, so the output is 3. Now in the example, there is no common prefix, no a single element, so the output is 0 as all the elements are different. So now let's see how to approach this question. We can do this question by simple brute force approach, just by reducing some of the time by using a unordered set. So what we can do, we can store every value of any one array, every subset, every let's say for the example array 1 equals to 1 1 0 1 00. So what we can do, as we have to check for every starting prefix, every prefix in this array, and we have to compare it with every prefix in array 2, and after that we have to return the answer as the longest common prefix. Okay, so what we can do, we can simply store this array, these elements, and the prefix of all prefix that can be made by these elements. So the prefix that can be made by these elements are prefix that can be made are first one, then by this element 10 we can choose only 1 or 10, these both are prefix. By this element 100 we can choose only 1, which is already present in the prefix that can be made, 10 which is also already present, and 100. So these are the prefix that we can make from this array. Also this one is already present, so we will not take it. So these are only prefix that can be made by this array. And by array 2 what can be made, wait a second, prefix that can be formed by array 2 are, first we can take only one, we are talking about this array 1000. Now we can take 10 or 100 or the whole element 1000. So these are the prefixes that can be made from array 2, and now if you look closely, these elements match, this 100, this 100, although this one is also matches, 10 also matches, but the longest prefix that is matching is 100. So our output is the number of digits in these prefix, which is 3. As you can see, 3 digits in 100. So what we can simply do, now we have to compare every prefix. So we will take out one prefix, take out all the prefixes of an array and store it in a set. After that we will take out all the prefixes of an array. We can use another set for that, but we will simply check that if the current prefix is present in the set that is made by the second array or not, and if it is present, then we will update our answer by the length of that prefix. So let's see the code to understand it deeply. As I said, we have to take a set to store the prefixes of any one array in starting. So an ordered set in st. Now let's take answer as 0 to return in the end. First we will push all the elements, all the prefixes that can be made by, let's say, second array in the set. So int I equals to 0, let's run a loop to end of the array 2, which is arr2.size. Now increment I. Now we have to extract every element. So for this 1000, what we can do, first we will push 1000. After that, if we divide this 1000 by 10, we will be remaining with this 100. Then we will push this, then we again divide it by 10, so we will be remaining with 10. We will push this value also, and after, when we again divided the 10 by 10, we will be having 1. Then we again push this one in the set, After that we will again divide and the value is 0. So till the value is not 0 we will divide it by 10 to get all the prefixes. So let's first take the current element in a variable. So int element equals to, let's say, the current element which is error2 of I. Now as I said, while the current element is not 0, so while element is greater than 0, we will push the element in set. We will just insert the int in the set and divide it by 10 to get all the prefixes that can be made by that element. So element divide equals to 10. Now after this, as we have tabulated all the prefixes that can be made by every element in the array 2, now we have to check in the second array if the current prefix that is made by the current array is present or not. And another thing, like for this 100, when we check, if we found a 100 here, we don't have to check for 10 because we have to check for the longest prefix. So if the 100 is already present in the set, why we have to check for this 10? Because this is the smaller digit, this is only 2-digit number and the 100 is 3-digit number. So if we found a prefix that is present in the second array which is present in the set, then we will just break from there and check for the next iteration. So let's go for that. To make it a bit easier to understand, you can also just take another set 2, and push all these elements in set 2, like using this loop again for the error1 array. And after that you can simply traverse in that set, but the complexity will be again n square. So let's use this approach only. So for int I equals to 0, now we are traversing in the first array, so error1 dot size and I plus plus. Let's again take element as the current element, so current element is error1 of I this time. Now first just copy this one and let's see. In this we don't have to insert the value. In this for loop, what we have to check if the current element is present or not. So we will simply write a condition. If the current element is present, we can simply check by the using count function. So st.count element, this will be 1 if the current element is present, otherwise it will be 0. So if the element is present, what we will do, we will simply push that value and break. In the else part we will divide the element. Okay, so in the else part, element will be element divided by 10 as written here. Now if the current element is present, we will simply, and now also another thing, we have to calculate the length, as we don't have to give the answer as the value which is the longest value, we have to give the length. So we will simply take out the length as, let's take length as 0, and now we will apply this loop again. This won't increase the complexity because element will be 0, and after this if statement or the loop will be already breaked. So we also don't need to write the break statement, because after doing this element will be equal to 0. Wait a second. So let's take as we have to check the length, so what we will do, so till the element is not 0, we will do same step, but only we will take a length variable as we have took, and we will increment the counter. So for this 100, what will happen, initially length is 0, so in the first iteration we will increment the length in every iteration. So in the first iteration length will be 1, after that we divide this by 10, now we will be left with 10. Then again this length will be updated as this is not 0, so the length will be 2, after that length will be 3, and after that again when element is divided, after the length 3 it will be 0, so it won't run in the loop and we will be left with the length equals to 3. So by this method we will divide, and also the element, as we divide element till n, so the element will be 0, so this while loop will also terminate, so we don't need to write any break statement, although you can write, that won't increase complexity. Now let's just keep it simple. And also for every step, for every time we found the element, we also have to update answer as the maximum of the previous answer and the current answer, because you have to give the maximum length of the common prefix. And this looks fine. let's simply return our answer here. Okay, let's run. Okay, let's submit this. Okay, so the code is accepted. Thank you for watching.